The Beacon Legacy.
Bringing hope to every generation.
Truth, justice, community.
One voice, one people, one future. A guiding light for tomorrow.
Welcome to the Beacon Legacy, hosted by Keisha. Family to the Beacon Legacy. Tonight's episode, we're going to speak on issues, stories, policies. Our job at the Beacon Legacy is not to show you how to think. It's not to lay out the facts and tell you how to think. It's simply to bring everything to the table, discuss issues, have meaningful conversations, ask serious questions. We'll be speaking on Nolan Wells' investigation. We'll speak on Karmelo Anthony's developments in his case. We'll have talk, and we'll have some policies that's affecting our community that's coming up. Before we get started with this episode, I would like for you to put in the comments below from. Again tonight, speaking about Nolan Wells, who was 18 years old. Many people are speaking on this case, and many people are showing you the facts. I feel it's our duty to continue to keep his name out. It's our duty to keep saying his name. Our duty to keep asking questions. His family is searching for answers, which they deserve. The community is grieving over this child's unaliving. I really feel like we should keep his name out there. Put our foots to their neck and make them investigate. Here at the Beacon Legacy, we're not here to spread rumors unaliving. We want Mississippi to do their job and investigate. Families should not have to bury a child, and they shouldn't have to bury a child with unanswered justice. Let's begin with what we know on his timeline. Nolan Wells was an 18-year-old college football player. He just finished his freshman year and was waiting for football training to begin for his sophomore year. He traveled to Horn Island with a group of friends. It has been reported their names was Warren Hudson, Trayston Shepard, Javon Williams, and Wyatt. According to his friends, he stayed behind with a girl he met that day. The rest of the group took the boat back due to the boat having mechanical emergency issues of water entering the boat. Started a timeline on Nolan's case. And we know July 4th, he was on Horn Island. Most people aren't talking that was with him on Horn Island. There's a video surfacing with Warren explaining the events for that day if you want to look over those events. Here's the timeline for the day Nolan was last seen up until today of his investigation. July 4th, Nolan traveled to Horn Island. He was last seen at 3 p.m. He was reported missing between the afternoon and night of July 4th. July 4th through July 6th, search efforts was launched for his to find Nolan. I want to say on July 5th, his parents did not have a boat, so they asked around, and Nolan's coach offered to take them to the island to search for Nolan's body. July 5th, when they were searching for his body, there was nobody on Horn Island. Nothing had came to surface. Nothing was out there. Search efforts continued until the 6th, where his body was found that afternoon on Horn Island. Autopsies was completed on the same evening of July 6th. July 7th until today, Nolan's investigation is still going on. Those are the timelines that we have so far. What I didn't say in that timeline is that Colin Kaepernick did pay for the family to have a private autopsy. The autopsy results was given to Ben Crump, and he does have it on his website as of July 22nd. They were up. They were found to be undetermined. I also want to say, how is his body not there? If he was left behind and this happened on Horn Island, why wasn't his body there when his family went to search? And if you were his friend and his family was looking for their child, why wouldn't you take them on your boat to go and look for their son? This is the same reason because you didn't give his phone to his mother. She had to find a friend to take her over there to get his phone. After watching and searching on Life 360. Or it's the same reason why you gave the go around for the dad when he tried to get his son's keys. You wouldn't give them to his dad. You couldn't find them until somebody that was with the dad called a girl that was at the house with y'all. And then you give them the keys. It took an outside girl to say the keys is on Watt's Xbox for you to turn over his keys. I want to get something understood. I'm not here to make you think like me. I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to tell you how to think. I'm just here to lay down the facts that's already out there that we all can see. I want you to take any information that you have, any story that you were told and can verify that it's the truth, and make your own decision. Ask your own questions. And I also want to say there is an award for Nolan's investigation. They just want answers. $125,000 is put up for answers. Don't call that tip line with fake news, fake reporting, or giving them the go around. If you really have some information about him, please let the family know. Call Ben Crump's office, email him, so this investigation can go through. Let's still pay our respects to Nolan. Parents had to bury a child. Siblings had to bury a brother. Classmates had to bury their peer. A football team had to rest their player. Let's pay our respects. And while I watched his funeral, Reverend Al Sharpton gave a very good eulogy. The eulogy touched me and made me see what I would like to do with the Beacon legacy. No more. The eulogy changed me. I'm going to play a little bit of his eulogy so that you can see what Al Sharpton had to say. It's also on TMZ, and anything that's on the show today will be also linked in the description below.
I was thinking as a scripture in Genesis, the 4th chapter, that passage that starts at the 2nd verse said, and again she bore his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain a worker of the ground. In the course of time, Cain brought unto the Lord an offering of fruit of the ground. And Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock, and their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering. But for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. The Lord said to Cain, why art thou angry? And why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it. Cain spoke to Abel, his brother. And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. May God add a blessing to the reading of his word.
That passage that Reverend Al Sharpton used is Genesis 4:2-10. The message speaks volumes. God created this world for peace and harmony. Peace and harmony amongst all races. We are supposed to protect our brothers and sisters. Look out for our brothers and sisters. Nobody is above the other. We all have one mission in this life, and it's not to harm. Found in his message how he gave a parable about medical history. Go to the doctor. If you go see a specialist, if you have surgery, they need your medical history. The first thing they're going to ask you for is, I need your medical history before we can perform this. I can see you as your specialist, but I need your medical history. You have to put it all down in black and white. He used that parable to say, Mississippi, we see your history. It's all in black and white. We know your investigations for no foul play. We've heard that since 1953. He also stood here and said, Nolan's blood is crying from the ground. Mississippi, we need answers. We are our brother's keeper, and his blood is crying from the ground. There are several families in Mississippi who have went through this before. We see your history. Everybody has a job to do. As a parent, our job is to protect our children, guide our children, and lead our children on to be able to live on their own and make it in this world and come home each day to do it over again. Mississippi, you have a job to do. Your officers have duties to do. There's investigations to do. How many times are you going to let your history come out in the open? Have you forgot your history? We haven't. And just so you think if you have forgotten your history, let me help you remind you of your history. Raynard Johnson, 17 years old, in June of 2000, found unalive in a pecan tree in a predominantly white neighborhood in Kokomo, Mississippi. The ruling was he unalived himself. The family and NAACP tried to contest the ruling with the knowledge of his harassment for dating a white girl. Rasheem Carter was 25 years old in October of 2022. He called his mom about being chased by white men in trucks. He ran to the police department to get a ride home after telling the story and was told Laurel, Mississippi wasn't their jurisdiction and they were not a taxi. His remains were later found scattered across the woods. While his mother was on the phone, she heard him talking to the police department. She heard him ask for help. The ruling, they said, no foul play. Private autopsy done on his body proved traumatic bone fractures before he was unalived. 4 years later, federal investigations still open with 0 arrest. Dexter Wade was 37 years old in March of 2023. He was unalived by an off-duty officer. He was walking across the interstate when he was struck by the unmarked SUV. The unaliving was ruled an unfortunate accident. The officer never received a traffic citation, a sobriety test. His mother searched for her son for 6 months, kept being told by the police department no information on his whereabouts, claimed to be unidentifiable, only later the coroner identified via fingerprints in a prescription bottle in his pocket. Secretly buried in Hinds County, Penal Farm, Pauper Cemetery. Mario Mori was 40 years old in February 2023 when he was beaten to his unaliving and had blunt force trauma to his head. The coroner ruled homicide, but authorities didn't notify family until 8 months later. The family lived locally and was looking for him. Mario was also buried in Pino Popper Farm Field in Hinds County without his family's knowledge. The Martavian was 21 years old, a student at Delta State University, was found unalive in a tree on campus. Quickly ruled no foul play, and he unalived himself. National civil rights leaders demanded justice, asked for federal intervention. This was immediately closed without charges. Nolan Wells, listed as no foul play.
Bright light, smile shine like the sun. Nolan walked in, whole room feel the love. Football dreams, big heart never run. God called you home, but your light still on. Christine, hold it down, mama strong. Elmo, silent leader, carry on. Y'all raise the real one, peacemaker for everyone. Nolan Xavier, we gon' keep his name in these songs. Bright light, infectious energy. The boat did it right.
This so summer ace, big step from Memphis Street. But I see your pain, clear fam, no cap, hit deep. I'm Nolan on that island, 4th of July vibe. Cool for his mama, beat smile, living life. Never met a stranger, want a piece in every color. Black, white, whatever, he saw the heart, not the cover. Uplifting everybody, just with the jokes. Teammates say silent leader, action spoke. Wide receiver catching blessings, working hard for the team. Last fun before count, supposed to chase that dream. Christine, I know you miss them hugs and them calls. Elmo, teaching safety and numbers, standing tall. Y'all poured everything in them. That big heart scared y'all sometimes. But that's what made them special, pure love and hard time. Bright light, smile shine like the sun. Nolan walked in, whole room feel the love. Football dream, big heart never run. God called you home, but your light still on. Christine, hold it down, mama strong. Elmo, silent leader, carry on. Y'all raise the real one, peacemaker for everyone. Nolan Xavier, we gon' keep his name in these songs. Bright light, infectious energy. The bro did it right.
Trust me, Mississippi, that's not all. I just went back 6 years. Between Emmett Till and Nolan, there has been 25 no foul play investigations. 25. Out of all them, how is it that Medgar Evers was the only one that got full justice? Oh, his wife fought until she was laid to rest, and he got justice nearly 50 years later. 25 cases of no foul play. 18 of the unalivings, no justice. Only 4 of the 25 have partial justice. And you know how long it took? 30 to 40 years to get. 3 unalivings is still uninvestigated. We see your history. By no means am I saying all these cases are the same. What I am saying is, Mississippi, we see your history. It's in black and white. What I am saying, it's time to stop looking at cases on TV and saying, oh, that's sad. Oh, I wish there was something that we can do. It's time to stop looking, start standing, and coming together. We are our brother's keeper. If we don't continue to stand, if we stop letting them divide us and let them know we're here, if it's going to happen, we want the answers. We want you to do your investigation. We don't care about your friend. We don't care about how long you known this person. Do an investigation. And as for our community, let's stop just sitting. Where have it gotten us? This is just Mississippi. You think this don't happen in your state? And everybody says, oh, that's sad, but that's not my child. It could have been your nephew, your grandson. We can't stand. We can't just continue to sit here and let them do this and get away with it and do it and get away with it. But one thing I do want to say is we can't get loud while the light's shining. And then as soon as the light go dim, we start getting quiet. We still need to scream in the darkness. Because they feel like, oh, they're going to be so mad about this right now, but give it a few months and it'll be quiet. We need to stop being quiet. One of the reasons why we cover stories like this is because we often see comments. You see people asking questions, wanting to know what they should do with their child, wanting to know, should we teach this or should we prevent this? Every time we see this, I can't tell you how to parent, I can just tell you what I do. When my kids is old enough to know history and comprehend history, I don't teach them no history book. I go in depth. I let them know the good, the bad, and the ugly. We need to start letting our kids have open door policies to be able to speak to us. Come in and sit and talk to us. That's not being disrespectful. Let them be able to tell you what's going on in their life. Sometimes the stories can be so corny. And sometimes the stories can be like a wake up moment. But you have to give them the space to speak. Stop letting everything be disrespectful. Everything is not disrespectful. Let them talk. Let them show you this is what's going on with me in this world. Also, we need to start tracking our children. We need to know where our kids is at all times and be able to get to our children. Because one thing and two things for sure, I know my kids can be anywhere, and if they sit here and say, Mama, I need, they know I'm coming. Mom, if they send a SOS text message to me, I'm coming. There's so many apps. We use Life 360. There are several apps out there that's cheaper than Life 360. And then phone companies nowadays do have family tracking. Know where your children is. Be able to get to them if they need you. I know a lot of y'all gonna be mad at me with this one. You don't know Timmy Mama? And you not spending time with Timmy Mama? Why your child over at Timmy house spending the night? Stop letting your kids go places where you don't know these people. If you ain't seen the good, bad, and ugly in them, then don't send your child. It's fine. Timmy come over here and play. But you're not going to Timmy's. So what happened to the older days? When I was younger and the older generation seen me with somebody, it wasn't no problem to say that wasn't for you. That person ain't good. We see them same things in these kids now. But we so quick for our kids to have friends. All friends ain't good friends. If you see something bad in a kid and your kid can't see it, call it out. Because what happened with you? You eventually seen it. You eventually start messing with that person. Your mama could just sit here and told you all day long, that's a dog. You eventually seen it was a dog. What's that saying? Somebody prayed for me when I was too dumb to pray for myself. Better start praying over these kids. Not the 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. We need to start praying over our children. We need to know where our children is and their friends. I want you guys to do something for me. I want you to think really hard of a lesson you hope this generation learns that took you learning the hard way. And put it in the comments. Let's teach one. We got so much knowledge in us. Let's spread it to the younger generation. While Nolan's case has raised a lot of questions and have made a lot of people upset, we had another case do the same thing in Texas. The Carlo Anthony's case sent the United States in an uproar. You had some people saying that it was a public lynching on his case. You had several different ethnic groups upset about that case. Let's talk about the latest developments in Karmelo Anthony's case since his verdict. Karmelo Anthony's case ended in a verdict. He has now obtained, as some call it, the dream team on his appeal. He did file a couple of motions They filed a motion to have Judge Roach recusal, and they filed a motion for a new trial. First thing that they filed was a motion for the new trial. The new defense is saying that there was several incidents in that first trial that made it to where he should get a new trial. One of the incidents in that trial was the judge. I am a trial person. I will watch any trial there is. If it's on TV, if it's on YouTube, I'm going to watch it. What I find strange is the YSL judge, oh, he loved that camera. You can tell me nothing about it. That man loved that camera. You know, anybody that watched that trial knew that judge loved that camera. Every day he came with his new earrings on. And I know anybody that watched that trial knew that judge loved that camera. Every day he came with his new earrings on. Did the, shine for the camera. But what I didn't see is after they took their pleas, he ran to do an interview. I don't see too many judges do that. I just don't. But after Karmelo Anthony's case, Judge John Roach ran to do an interview. And we boost and brag a little bit too much. Let's watch.
Months.
Is that the longest you've ever had to prep?
100%.
Why?
Logistics. One of the critical pieces of this case where we had minors who were testifying. Prior to me getting the case, we had some of those witnesses doxxed and swatted and revealed on social media. I didn't want that to add to the already traumatic event they've been through, and I didn't want them to change their testimony or be uncooperative with people trying to call them as witness out of fear. And so my number one duty at that point in time getting the case was to how do we protect those minors who are critical to this case to come and testify.
I'm sure you've already read and know that one of your fellow judges has already been doxxed and swatted and all the things.
I did know that.
And still no reluctance from wanting to take it on?
None.
Yeah. The decision to not have cameras or any kind of streaming, was that an easy one?
Yes, it was an easy decision, and I'll tell you why. My primary goal in any case is to make sure that the defendant and the prosecution gets a fair trial, period. I have seen from other cases around the country where cameras in the courtroom changed the way that the judge acted, the lawyers acted, some of the witnesses acted, and we were not going to have that here. We were going to really isolate the purpose for which we were here for, which is to have that fair trial, and cameras in the courtroom did not enter into that equation at all.
How much?
So with him speaking about keeping it public for the minors, again, I've seen a lot of trials, and what the judge does, he lets the cameraman know you can film the seal, you can film me, you can film the prosecutor, the DA, but you do not put the camera on them kids. Even with hostile witnesses, you do not put the camera on them. You don't also put the camera on domestic. I never seen them on the camera. Judge John Roach reason for no cameras, or his excuse for no electronics, was that it was minors in there and he didn't want the minors to be exposed. That's all cool and dandy, but if you watch, again, Queen Sheba, Nick at Night, and several other people who was inside the trial, like Law and Crime, During the testimony, some of them weren't even minors anymore. I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 that was still minors. All the other ones wasn't minors anymore. Also said that, well, I put it to where 27 people from the public could come in. That's not a public trial. And what I find funny is that he handpicked which news people he wanted in the courtroom. Everybody couldn't come. It was the ones he picked. And even the YouTube creators who follow trials and go to trials had to fill out a long application to show their credentials, what they covered, how they covered it, all just to get in, to be a reporter for the trial. But that's not what I found interesting. I found interesting that reporters had a line to get into the trial, and the public had a line to get into the trial. It was already reserved 15 seats for the Metcalf family, 15 seats for the Anthony family. Reporters in public, 2 lines, both had to be there at 3 a.m. for a trial to start it at 9 a.m. They had to wait in line to be able to get the first come, first served seat. How strange is that? You fill out an application, show your credentials, get approved to report over the trial, and still have to wait in a line at 3 a.m. in the morning for a first come, first served seat. That is not public. That's not a public trial. This was his way of protecting minors, as he said in that interview. He also stated in the interview another piece of evidence that I feel he talked a little too much, and it could backfire on him. Let's watch that. In that video clip, Judge John Roach stated, I wanted this case to come back to Collin County. And he also stated, I didn't know I was the judge coming up for it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Why would you want it to come back to Collin County so bad if you knew you wasn't the judge that was going to get it? It makes sense.
Did you want to take on this trial?
I wanted the Collin County Judiciary to take on this trial. It was important to me to have somebody from Collin County preside over this Collin County case. So I didn't ask for it. No one, that's not how it works anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for it, but I was certainly willing to do it because that was my duty.
In your conversations with, my guess it's an administrative judge who goes, I know they go down the list and they say, all right, it's your turn and it's your turn. As they go through all the conflicts of judges that may, potential conflicts, when they come and say, John, this may be yours, your first reaction is?
I'll take it. Every time. I think it's my job. It's my duty. That's what I was elected to do.
Yeah.
That's the oath that I took, and I'm going to do my job.
No consultation with your family? Or
None.
Did the jury get it right?
Yeah, they did. You know why? Because they were picked based upon the law. They listened to the facts that happened here in this very courtroom, and they got a verdict. And so that's the process. And whatever they say, they get it right.
he mentioned, I knew he was guilty. You are sitting behind the judge's bench to referee the DA and the defense. That's it. You can't object, which you did several times. Your job is only to be the referee and set the rules for the court. Those are a few things that they feel like the motion for new trial can come into play. He talked too much. The daddy talked too much. There has been a new judge assigned to do the recusal part of the motion. Let's look into this new judge. Senior Judge Sid Harley, formerly the judge of the 226th Judicial District Court in San Antonio. He was assigned to this motion on July 14, 2026. He proceeded in the Uvalde case involving the former police chief of Uvalde. Judge Harley will decide the motion for recusal of Judge John Roach, handling the motion for new trial if recusal is successful. He will also determine if the defense allegations require relief from the Texas law. The motion for the recusal will be in front of Judge Harley publicly in Collin County. I want to show you the timeline of what's going to happen next on this case and with these motions. So let's see. My opinion. Get out and vote. And now the appealing court is conservative led. There's 3 seats coming up in November. Do your due diligence and go vote. Also know appeals in Texas, we know the history on those. The best thing to do is to go vote. They do take a while. It does take a while to get an appeal, and only a certain percentage of them are ever overturned. Also, I do want to say there is a group of ladies on TikTok. They're called 10 Toes Down. They have done an amazing job outside of Queen Sheba, Nick at Night, No Capping. All of them have done amazing jobs on going over this case and putting his information out there. They do have something set up to where if you would like to support Karmelo Anthony, and if you would like to send him a book, because he loved crossword puzzles, because that's what we've seen in the evidence. So apparently he loves those. They do have a way to send books to him. If you want to send him a book, the Beacon Legacy has a Facebook page where you can message me directly and I will get you that. They're not so much worried about him getting a book. In this description, you can leave a message to say you support him. So if you want to do that and you want to support him, please leave us a message on our Facebook page and I will get that to you on how to do it, how to order the book, where to send the book, and how to put the message in there for him. I'm only doing it this way because I'm trying to stop hatred. There's a lot of people that's not for him. There's a lot of people for him. I'm only doing it this way because I don't see how you have hatred so much for a kid. He doesn't deserve to get hate mail. And if you need to stoop that low to send hate mail, then you need to go somewhere and find what's inside of you that's making you be like that.
Karmelo coming home, wait for him. Karmelo coming home, wait for him. 35 years they gave a youngin', but the appeal gon' set him free. Karmelo coming home, wait for him. Mama crying, family praying, whole world watching him. Karmelo coming home, just wait and see. Self-defense in that bleacher fight, one push, one life, now they tryna bury him. But Karmelo coming home. April 2nd, track meet jumping, 2 schools clashing, tension pumping. Didn't know the kid, Austin Metcalf. Words got heated, bag got the fumbling. He pushed up on Karmelo, Karmelo reacted quick. Knife came out, one stab, it hit. But did Karmelo do it, a twin in his click? Chaos everywhere, blood on the ground. Now they paint Karmelo villain in this town. Charged with murder, bun say hi. House arrest in the trial fly by. They said Karmelo provoked, brought the blade, but in my mind it was survivor fate. Witnesses talking, video showing, but the full story ain't what they own. It's self-defense claim, jury then buy. All non-black panel feel like they lying. MACP stepping in now. Ben Crumb team appeal gone wild. New evidence dropping, questions rising. Karmelo in the cell, but his spirit flying. Karmelo coming home, wait for him. Karmelo coming home, wait for him. 35 years they gave a youngin', but the appeal gon' set him free.
Something else that came to my mind with Karmelo Anthony's case is no matter where you stand, if you don't like him, if you felt he got what he deserved, or if you're over here and you felt like 35 years was way too much, I'm not here to say where you stand. What I noticed in that trial was jury selection. And I watched it. I didn't watch it personally because they couldn't take cameras in. But from the reporters that went in and was able to sit for jury duty, it was baffling. Stop trying to get off a jury duty. I've seen several reporters say that 2 black men went in and said, I could never see myself sending a black person to jail. Automatically striked. And I mean, they said it back to back. He needed somebody in there to look like us. Look like us. Think like us. To say something behind them doors. Take a few moments to understand how a jury works. Every jury has the same concept of the graph that I'm fixing to show you on the screen. So when I show you, this is the same thing that is going to be done in a county in New York to a county in California. This is the same concepts. So let's look at this graph. 1, citizens are randomly chosen to summon for jury by either their voter registration or their driver's license. Step 2, the potential jury answers the questions during the process called voir dire. When attorneys and the judge determine whether they can be fair or impartial. If you pass the fair and impartial stage, you'll go to step 3, where attorneys may ask the judge to recuse some of the juries for legal reasons, and they may also use a limited number of strikes. Under the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Batson versus Kentucky, jurors cannot be excluded solely because of race. Step 4, the selected jurors hear the evidence presented in court, receive instructions on the law from the judge, deliberate together, and return a verdict based on the evidence admitted during the trial. I know that Batson, you gotta prove you're striking this person for this reason, but not for race. In this trial, 3 black women was excluded from the trial because they were educators. Educators. A woman, because we know his trial was white women, Asian. It was several white people and it was Asian. One of the ladies on the jury was an educator. They can try to twist that. And I'm going to be honest with you. They can try to twist it because the 3 black women were educators for the school, apparently. The lady that was on the juror that was an educator, she was an esthetician educator. They looked at it like, okay, well, we don't want any educators on here because we don't want them sympathizing with the defense. Educators are usually close to their students, right? They have their favorites. They sympathize with their students. They see them every day. Stuff like that. Estheticians do the same thing as teachers. They have their favorites. They sympathize with the student. The only difference is these people are teaching minors, and this esthetician teacher is teaching grown adults. She or he still could be attached to. She could still relate to. She could still bond with. So I'm just giving you the facts. It can go both ways. They can sit here and say, oh, well, this is the reason. It wasn't because of the color, it was the reason. So we're just here to give you the facts. Put them on the table. You get out of it what you can get out of it. Versus Kentucky is not strictly African Americans. Black people were excluded from being on juries, but it wasn't under the Batson versus Kentucky that they were excluded for. Black people was usually excluded for peremptory strikes, not Batson. According to the law, a jury of your peers does not have to match your personal characteristics or your skin color. A jury of your peers are the same people in the same demographic area as you, basically. At the beginning, I told you Al Sharpton did a very good eulogy in My Brother's Keeper. That into Karmelo's case. You see a person on trial that looks like you. Yeah, you're their keeper. Yeah, you look out for them. If they sit up here and say, oh, this is the defendant and the defendant likes blue, you like pink. If the defendant is a Democrat, you're a Republican. Do whatever you can to stop being striked from jury. I'm passionate about this because I hear it so much like, oh, this shouldn't have happened or that shouldn't have happened. What shouldn't have happened is people striking themselves purposely from the jury. Stop doing stuff that wasn't getting us nowhere and start doing the right thing. Here's a list of stuff for you to make sure that you have so that you can be on a jury. Justice is not the only issue that we are talking about tonight. We will be talking about our health in the health report. Today, I want you to realize that for the Black Americans in the United States, heart disease is still the number one killer in our race. Let's take a look into some of the things about heart disease and how it's affecting our community. Many families lose their loved ones to this heart disease matter. As long as we're being educated, knowing the signs of early detection, and having access to care, we should be able to get ahead of this disease. Our community shows to lead with 22.6% of all deaths with heart disease. According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention's, more than 1 in 5 deaths among Black Americans is due to heart disease. According to the Centers for Disease Control Prevention, more than 1 in 5 deaths among Black Americans is due to heart disease. The American Heart Association also reports that Black Americans face higher risk of heart disease and stroke, influenced by factors such as high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, and barriers to health care. I want everyone to know there is good news. A lot of the major risks that was explained earlier can still be managed. Here's a list for you to be able to take to keep for yourself. I'm not asking you just to know your numbers. Know your family history. Blood pressure, also known as the silent killer, has no symptoms for you to watch for. Regular checkups will report your blood pressure to your doctor. Please understand, small life changes can be much more successful than drastic changes. Job is to keep you informed. I encourage you to start doing the early sign of prevention. Prevention goes a long way. I encourage you to know your body. Keep track of symptoms. Write them down. If you feel bad, make an appointment. Tell your doctor what's going on and be honest with your doctor. I encourage everybody here to start doing their yearly checkups. Prevention is very powerful. For those that have insurance, I want you to know that prevention services on any insurance company is at zero cost. Again, if you have, I've been in insurance for several years. If you have any questions about your insurance policies or need to know anything, go to the Beacon Legacy Facebook page. Send me a message. We'll work through it together because prevention is very important. A lot of people don't take heed to prevention when it can stop a lot of diseases. If you do not have insurance, I encourage you to look into your county to see if they have an indigent program to help you with insurance, to help you see the doctor. Most counties do have it. You can only see certain doctors, can't see the big hospitals, just certain doctors. But they also have community clinics that you can go to. Find a way to get to the doctor if it's every year for all your preventative services. If you don't have insurance, you can't get Medicaid, try Marketplace. Marketplace does have plans. I encourage you to try it, but just know, please let that be their last result that you have. Because the subsidies that they do have and they give to you, you have to pay those back. This week we have challenges for your health. I encourage you to look at the list and see what you can change. Again, small changes is better than drastic changes. I'm not asking you to go over all the changes and change them all today. Make small steps, baby steps. When I started walking, I was walking around my bed and around my house, making my own trail. Then I started walking the neighborhood. Baby steps is better than no steps. And I encourage you to move, walk, make your own trail in your house. If it's walking down the hallway and back and forth, do it 10 times. The next week, 20 times. Next week, walk up and down the block. Dance, but move your body. Raise your heart rate. Get the blood circulating. Those are all important things. Follow this list for the next week and make the changes. I want you to schedule a primary care appointment. Check your blood pressure. You can do that at any CVS or Walgreens as well. Walk for 20 or 30 minutes at least 3 days this week. Drink more water instead of sugary drinks. Set your timer for water. When you first get up, an 8-ounce cup of water. And every 2 hours, 8-ounce cup of water. You can still drink your sodas, just drink water if you're addicted to sodas. But you'll find that adding water and cutting out sodas will make you feel even more better. Learn your cholesterol and blood sugar numbers. We can't change our history, but we can change our future. Know your numbers. Make small changes. get to moving. Watch out for your blood pressure. Preventive health is the most powerful way that we can start self-care. Health is not only affected by the choices that we make, it also comes from policies by the government, which is going to include Medicaid, voting, and funding for school. In the impact report tonight, we will discuss these three policies and how they're going to affect the Black community. Every week, there's changes being made in Washington that affect our communities. Some changes are loud and spread all over. Some are quiet. Tonight we'll be discussing the changes that's coming up with Medicaid, voting, and funding for school. Millions of Americans rely on Medicaid for health care. Recent federal legislation includes changes that could affect eligibility and administrative requirements for some recipients over the next few years. Supporters believe their changes encourage employment and strengthen the long-term sustainability of the program. Others worry that the changes could make it harder for eligible individuals to maintain coverage because of paperwork requirements or barriers. If you or someone you love receive Medicaid, it's important to watch for notices from your states and respond promptly if additional information is requested. I'm going to show you a clip of what's the new changes for Medicaid and how it'll affect some people. I hope this clip will bring more information for you.
Policy, many low-income adults without disabilities will have to prove they worked, volunteered, or attended school at least 80 hours a month or risk losing their coverage. Republicans say the requirement is aimed at reducing waste, fraud, and abuse in the program. Serious medical conditions to qualify for exemptions.
Is it the elderly patient who needs expensive nursing home care? Is it the child with a serious chronic health condition? Should we cut off these people's access to health care because they can't work? They physically cannot work.
Pregnant women, caregivers, and some seriously ill Americans will still qualify for exemptions under the new Medicaid work rules, but the administration is narrowing who counts as medically frail. For example, the rule specifically states that people with conditions like cancer, HIV, AIDS, or end-of-stage renal disease would not automatically qualify for an exemption.
After watching that clip, I want to encourage you to please keep an eye out for anything that's upcoming in mail for your state for Medicaid. Most of the government issued plans that you have, like SNAP or Medicaid, they do have their dedicated website for your county or for your state, I'm sorry. Thing I do notice is every year that it's election, they do have changing in voting. We all notice that. There could be some changes coming up in our voting. We want you to keep an eye out on that, and the Beacon Legacy will continue to watch out for that to see what changes all come into effect before that time. I know it will only affect the registered voters. I know that it will affect those. Also, we are getting closer to an election in November. In the state of Texas and other states, we all can use vote.gov. Again, that is vote.gov to register to vote. We all need to vote. If you go there, it'll tell you what your state deadline is for this upcoming election. It's simple. Go there, see what the deadline is, click the link to register to vote, put your information in, and they'll send you your voter's card. We want to let you know later this fall, right before the election, September, the Beacon Legacy will be doing a voting documentary to show the history of voting and how important it is for our community to vote. I want you to keep a lookout for that documentary to come out. Every now and then we forget. This clip in your lap just to give you a reminder of how important voting was and still is today.
On March 7, 1965, I gave a little blood on the Edmund Pettus Bridge for the right to vote. Before the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was passed, some people had to count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap, the number of jelly beans in a jar. And all across America today, when people go out to attempt to vote, they stand in long, immovable lines. That's not right. It's not fair. And it's not just.
Powerful. Didn't get the message? Let me help you get the message again. Watch this.
In Alabama's Dallas County, where Selma was the county seat, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee led a voter registration campaign that faced increasingly violent resistance from local law enforcement under County Sheriff Jim Clark. On the 18th of February 1965, African-American demonstrator Jimmy Lee Jackson was fatally shot by a state trooper after a civil rights march. This prompted activists to organize a march from Selma to Montgomery, the state capital. Approximately 600 marchers departed Selma on the morning of Sunday the 7th of March. However, at the Edmund Pettus Bridge, they found a large group of state troopers, local police, and other county members who launched a ferocious attack that became known as Bloody Sunday. 2 days later, on Turnaround Tuesday, the number of marchers had grown to around 2,500 people. To avoid breaking a temporary restraining order against further demonstrations, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stopped the demonstration.
I put those videos in for a reason. I want you to see just how important it meant for our ancestors to get their voters' registration cards. I want you to hear and see what they went through just so that they can vote, their future generation could vote, and our future generations could vote. People don't like Tyler Perry shows. I get it. I do. Leah made a point in one of them shows. They marched. They sacrificed. They did a lot of things that we couldn't even stand the pressure to do just so our dumb behinds could go vote. I think it's important. And every year that there is an election, they try to strip us from voting. Vote.gov. Sign up to register to vote. I know for some people they say, well, my vote doesn't matter. I shouldn't vote. My voice won't be heard. I get that. I get that when it comes to the big elections every 4 years. I get that because they use electoral votes. This election that's coming up this year, this one in November, your voice matters. This election that's coming up this year determines who your DA is, who your judge is, who your sheriff is. They have mayor votes. I'm not saying the mayor is this year, but the mayor you can vote for your own mayor. Anything local, your vote counts. anything for the state, your vote counts. You get to choose who you want representing your state. You get to choose the governor you want. Please go to vote.gov, select your state, see when your deadline is. Most states, when I checked the other day, most states have a deadline of 30 days before the election. Some have a deadline of a week. Different states have different regulations. I want you to remember before we leave this segment, our ancestors marched, they pleaded, and some gave their lives just so that they could vote. Out there, spread your voice on that ballot. If you're planning to attend college or you have someone that's planning to attend college, please know the changes that's coming to FAFSA. FAFSA is still one of the ways that supplies funding for several in our community to go back to school and get a higher education. Let me explain some of the changes that will be happening with FAFSA starting for the 26-27 school year. Black students are more likely to receive Pell Grants than white students. In fact, nearly 6 out of 10 Black undergraduate students receive Pell Grants. That means many Black families rely on financial aid to help pay for tuition, books, housing, transportation, and other college expenses. So when the federal government changes the rules for Pell Grants or financial aid, those changes can have a greater impact on Black students and their families. The federal government has updated some of the financial aid rules. One important change is how Pell Grant eligibility is determined. The government now uses the StudentAid Index to decide whether a student qualifies for a Pell Grant or how much assistance they may receive. Some students' changes can be increased aid. For others, they could receive less aid than they expected based on their new eligibility formula. That's why it's important to complete the FAFSA every year and review your financial aid award carefully. If you do not understand your reward, ask questions. Advisors and student aid counselors are there for a reason. Make them do their job. There is good news about the new FAFSA beginning in 2026. Eligible students may be able to use Pell Grants for certain short-term workforce training programs. These is programs that's designed through the workforce agencies in your town. Instead of covering traditional 2 to 4 year college programs, eligible students may also receive financial aid for approval for career training in fields like healthcare, skilled trades, informational technology, manufacturing, transportation, public safety. These programs are designed to help people earn industry recognized careers and enter a workforce more quickly. Many students attending historically Black colleges and universities, also known as HBCUs, depend heavily on federal financial aid. Because a large number of HBCU students receive Pell Grants and other federal assistance, changes to financial aid policies can affect enrollment. affordability, and the amount of assistance students receive. That's why HBCUs closely monitor federal education policy and encourage students to complete the FAFSA as early as possible. Financial aid is not the only source of money for college. Thousands of scholarships go unclaimed every year because students never apply. Scholarships specifically created for the first generation college students, Black students, minority students pursuing a degree in healthcare, education, engineering, business, and STEM. There's community service and leadership scholarships. There's academic achievement scholarships. You don't have to just apply for one scholarship. You can apply for several, and you can use several towards your schooling. Before we end tonight's segment on education, I do want everyone to know that FAFSA is not the only way that you can go to school. There are several different options. And here at the Beacon Legacy, I want to do my part to help you. Down in the description below, there is links to different agencies that supply scholarships or hold like a scholarship housing where you can apply for different applications for scholarships. If you know somebody going to school or you're going to school in 2026, fill out as many of those applications that you can. That is money that you can use for school. I also want to sit here and say when it comes to Pell Grants and loans, don't get a loan unless you absolutely have to. That's not come up money. It's not. Pay for your schooling and whatever you don't have. I've seen some teachers tell kids to put some of it up for after school, after they graduate. If you need to do it that way, put a little bit up, but send the rest back. Because what they're not telling you is that's building up on you. That's building up on you, that's building interest on you, and you're going to have to pay it back. When you have to finish school and start paying that back, are they going to come help you pay? If not, do what you have to do, but send majority of that money back. Use the loan as the last resort and go and get these scholarships. They are out there. Before I close out tonight's episode, I want to leave you with a thought. Information can only go as far as we take it. Spread the news. Anything that you learned tonight, anything that helped you, help the next. Be the light to your community. I want to thank you for spending your evening with me. And tonight, I hope you got something out of this message. And whether it was new information, helpful information, something that you took away from this message tonight. We will continue to keep you updated on any of the stories that we covered tonight. Our goal isn't just to report, it's to have meaningful conversations, ask the serious questions, put the facts on the table. Remember, we are here to shine the lights, not keep it hidden. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please do the Beacon a huge favor and like this video, share the video, and make sure to leave a comment. Also, subscribe to the show. Tell your friends, your family about this show. The more likes we get, the higher it moves up in the algorithm to where we can get more people to be informed. Our goal is to shine a light on the things that's going on in our community. And the more we shine, the more people are informed. When it comes to your comments, I love comments. I read as many comments as I can and I respond back to them. Whether it's on any of our platforms, I try my best to respond to every comment.
Never forget.
Carry it forward.
Until next time, be the light.
Remember, we're stronger together.